Alright. Mic should be good. I hope. Okay. Hey, what am I doing? What was the plan? So I was gonna go here. So you're saying not only will I break through the Maw to the Imperium, but I will cover myself in glory as the conqueror of the Raging Warp forward. I'll see to it, Lord Captain. The Emperor protects. So I'm doing something that he doesn't want me to do. By the grace of the Emperor, I have been charged with chronicling the voyage that my blessed commander, Lord Captain Sir Deepus, intends to undertake through that turbid tract of the warp known as the Maw. The thought of what lies ahead fills our souls with terror, but we will have faith in the light of the Emperor. May his protection be with us now. Okay, so this is charted course for expedition. Message to Astropathic Choir. Let's message the Astropathic Choir. Lord Captain, we once again draw your attention to the fact that the warp region of the Maw is more turbulent than usual. The Diviner's vigil portends death for us, and much worse besides. This is not our first decade perceiving the void, and we have seen terrible storms, but none like this. We beseech you, please have mercy on us. If that be not your will, we stand ready to serve until the end. Continue. Sheesh. So something really bad is going to happen here. After offering up the requisite prayers, the crew received a box addressed from the blessed Lord Captain, in which our commander gave the order to initiate the jump to the Hermitage. Announced that the expedition was abandoned. No way. Let's give a jump. It's getting crazy. We made it to the Hermitage. Hermitage, right?
Hermitage.
Any place where a person may live in seclusion. We made it to the Hermitage, an outcome made possible solely by the Emperor's mercy. The ship has been chewed up by the ravenous Immaterium, and madness has taken root across our decks and stalks among us, staring us in the eyes. The vessel is in orbit around the station, thronged by thousands of silent satellites and jettisoned bodies of the dead. Jettisoned.
Jettison.
If you jettison something, for example, an idea or a plan, you deliberately reject it or decide not to use it. Oh, see, decided not to use the bodies. Alright. I spent the entire jump in the murky depths of the Astropathic Choir Bay, where acolytes of the ship's surgeon walked back and forth in silence. After singing the healing liturgy from beginning to end, they marched among the psychers, who had been medicated into unconsciousness. Any psyker who awoke, often with howls of horror, was quickly pacified with a sharp jab from an electrified baton. But my attention was wholly captured by Idra, gripping the shoulders of each astropath in turn and staring into their eyes. She compelled the raven psychers to collapse with a visceral cry, curling up on the deck with all thought of resistance gone from their mind. How many did she save? How many would have perished without her? Every moment now, I hear a voice full of vehement. It's like evil, right? Vehement?
Vehement.
Vehement. If a person or their actions or comments are vehement, the person has very strong feelings or opinions and express them forcefully. Okay. So it just means to do something very passionately. Every where am I? Every moment now I hear a voice full of vehement ire. Uh
Ire.
ire. Anger. Ire. It is the voice of the angel of the emperor. It is so ferocious, my very blood fears it, fleeing my body through my ears, eyes, and nose. The angel bade me compile a picked chronicle of the horrors recorded by the servo skulls in the ship's bays. May whoever finds it know the torments we suffered before death. Hermitage Station Situation Report. Scouting Expedition Report. I don't know how they haven't gone crazy yet, sitting in the middle of this warp storm. There are around 1,000 people there. A few hundred outcasts and anchorites. What? Anchorite.
Anchorite.
A person who lives in seclusion, especially a religious recluse hermit. Let's see. Living permanently on the station, and the crew of a trading vessel that barely made it as far as the Hermitage and won't be departing ever again. It seems they spend whole days sitting under their crystal dome praying, eating ration packs, and watching as reality loses its mind. How long are we in the warp core? They say the Emperor will protect them against the coming tempest. Of course they do. He is the only thing they can trust in now. For them, there is nowhere else to turn. We offered them passage on our ship. Not one said yes. Mad, all of them. Did we find a different ship in the warp? I'm a little confused. Incident report. I saw the picked recordings made on various decks with my own eyes. With horror and avid curiosity, I relish each bloody detail, drinking in the stream of chaotic, incomprehensible scenes. Nameless dread blossomed in my soul. I saw a bloody massacre in the enginarium, people armed with tools bashing each other's heads in. I saw a deck full of violently convulsing bodies covered in a layer of mold and sprouting grotesque fungi. I witnessed a crowd of crew members walk toward an opening airlock with mindless, exultant smiles on their faces, and be caught a moment later on a wave of air and wrenched out into the cold embrace of nothingness. With my own eyes, I saw a gunner steadily hitting a large caliber shell with a wrench, and inside a cockitator. I could just make out the bloody remains of an engine sear, impossibly squeezed in among the tangled wires. So much horror, so little hope. Report from engine sear deck, my lord. It grieves me to report the demise of 27.61% of the blessed machine spirits entrusted to my care. Reactors 1 and 3 required expedited burials, and the deck's crew held a vigil in their memory. The servitors have logged at least 11 breaches in the hull exterior and at least 3 in the hull interior. With my lord's gracious permission, I will endeavor to save what can still be saved. The Omniscient knows all, comprehends all. When the message came through the Voxnet, I struggled to hear it over the whispering of the angel in my ears. My honorable lord gave the order to make the warp jump to the witch-cursed well. We're going in. Sheesh. We are at the witch-cursed well, the place where we are doomed to perish. That is what the Emperor's angel told me. his voice almost impossible to bear. It bade me record every drop of sorrow. My chronicle will spread his word through the war and sow terror in all who come to know our dire voyage. So speaks the angel, and my own thoughts are so muddled that all I can do now is submit and bear witness. As soon as the ship exited the warp, thousands of crew members assembled into teams, launched into repairing the major areas of damage. The will of our fearless Lord Captain drove them, and in that moment I deeply envied their resolve. The Lord Captain's honorable companion Heinrich van Kallox personally led the ship's hands to the most seriously damaged decks. First, he admonished the cowardly crew members who refused to do their duty, and then he banished the fear from their hearts with a single shot. Verily, the man's mercy is great indeed. I left the astropathic choir bay and spent this jump in the navigator's sanctum. Though the number of casualties was high there, many managed to survive, including me. Furthermore, when the malevolent tentacles of the warp reached into our souls, and a bloody inscription in an unholy language began to appear on the bulkhead, the Emperor granted me the blessing of bearing witness to a miracle. Sister Argenta, entirely undaunted, marched up to the bulkhead and erased the words with a fearless swipe of her hand. She turned to us with a smile and said, "It is only blood. Do not fear the Immaterium, for its nightmares are nothing before the Emperor's light." In that moment, I had faith that all was not yet lost. Today, I believe I was mistaken. What? Okay. Argenta's got our backs. The losses and the damage are enormous. They say there was a mutiny. The Master Helmsman reports 1. that the odds of surviving another jump forward are 0. The odds of a successful jump backward are also 0. But the second 0 is slightly less definitive. Something systems are failing. Ooh, we're losing the ship. Which Cursed World Situation Report? Engineer Alvear's report from August Station 12. We must not make planetfall. I know what I saw, and no, we must not sit down on that planet. It is not because the wind could tear the hull of the landing shadow in the blink of an eye, or because the temperature on the surface fluctuates between red hot plasma and absolute 0. No, it's because planets do not have faces, but this one did. A vast face of jagged plateaus, eyes of fiery tornadoes, and a mouth made from a crater half a continent across. And I saw that face smiling at me. It saw me. It saw all of us. We must not make planetfall, Emperor. Emperor, have mercy on us. Addendum. Engineer Alvear was executed 4 hours after submitting this report for fomenting panic among the crew. Jeez. Incident report. The Pict Chronicle, recorded by the eyes of the servoscopes, made my heart stutter. In horror, I watched as a crewman who seemed perfectly healthy struggled against the shackles pinning him to an operating table, and a group of doctors, whispering excitedly among themselves, drew out their steel surgical instruments and eagerly began cutting into his flesh. I cried out as I watched engineers burning holy incense and chanting the prayer to awaken the plasma generator's machine spirit. A young acolyte, his heart wavering, accidentally disrupted the liturgy, releasing the motive force into the power circuit before it was time, and my poor eyes were blinded by white light of the explosion. After that, I was silent, for that was the only way I could continue to watch. Technomats in dirty coveralls reverentially. Oh my god, how do I say that? Reverentially? Oh.
Reverential.
Yeah, reverentially. Poured chalices of blood onto the base of the macabre tree. A weapon pointed upward, its supports outspread like branches, and hanging from them like ripe fruit were the bodies of the bay's officers. After tossing aside his discharged lasgun, a priest brought his fingers to his bleeding ears and then dove. So these new words, man. Daub?
Daub.
When you daub a substance such as mud or paint on something, you spread it out. You spread it on that thing in a rough or careless way. Daub these crimson words on the bulkhead. Don't listen to him. He is no angel. Who was he talking to? Me? Scarlet roses, their buds bleeding, were growing through the bulkheads, which were covered with patches of rot. Crew members in black uniforms incinerated them with flame throwers, weeping black tears and roaring with maniacal laughter. A string of people silently entered an airlock above which was written Hangar C-11-2 and were lost to the darkness. As the Deputy Kato artifacts, I know the ship's layout well. It has never been a Hangar C-11-2. The unknown has touched our vessel. It has taken root in it, and now we are all in the clutches of the Immaterium. Navigational forecast. Report from Navigator's Sanctum. Lord Captain, the crew of Navigator's Sanctum have virtually lost the light of the Astronomicon. Our hope is to retrace our steps, both in our thoughts and in our pain. Save us or lead us to our deaths. We will follow you no matter what. Report from ship's confessor. Master report. The rousing speech from the Lord Captain, which was broadcast over the Vox system, inspired the crew, who promptly broke into teams to repair the primary systems. The volunteers, all departed, were later loaded in prayer. Over the static and the howling of the unholy war, spirits that have infiltrated our Vox system, we heard the voice of our Lord Captain, who ordered us to prepare and make warp jump back to the Hermitage. Lord Captain, a warp jump to the Hermitage cannot be calculated. We cannot detect its shadow within the sacred radiance of the Astronomicon. What is that again? The psychic beacon that helps navigators triangulate course for their voyages through the warp. The warp storms are obstructing everything. We think our only chance is to make a longer jump to Footfall. Our chances of survival are low, but not non-existent. Emperor preserve us. The warp jump is complete. We are still ourselves, and we are alive, although only a tenth of those who set out on this expedition remains. But we have seen everything, and now nothing can dent the crew's spirit. I cannot say the same for my own. The left side was engulfed in a terrible fire, threatening to undermine the main caliber arsenal chambers. Holding tighter to their faith, the crew members responded as one to the harsh voice of our illustrious Lord Captain and rushed to save what remained of the vessel. The angel no longer speaks to me, and a strange emptiness has settled within my soul. Carrying this defiancy?
Deficiency.
Efficiency? I can't see that. Efficient? No way.
Deficiency.
That's how you spell deficiency? Hold on a second. Oh my god.
Deficient.
Okay, that looks right. I see. Deficiency. I see. I think I felt like the T had to be there. Anyways, inside me is unbearable. Here ends my chronicle, and my duty has been fulfilled. I will append a report about the sorry state of the ship after I go to the engineers to request voluntary servitorization. The Emperor protects. Ship status report. The warp is a sly and insidious beast, Lord Captain. We are ready to acknowledge that now. It was pleased that we admitted our defeat. That is why it let us come back, and we believe there can only be one reason for that. An even worse fate awaits us here. Master Steward's report. Crew losses 87%. I lost so much people. Due to the death of the acting trans mechanic on the engine's deck, I am reporting that the damage to the ship is widespread and all encompassing. We are running diagnostics now. Thanks to the ship's confessor, reading extracts from the code of punishment over the Vox system. The emergency repairs were completed much sooner and the ship's critical nodes saved. Report on crew morale. Report from Deck 1, Senior Officer Font. We are voidsmen, sir. We know we will die long before we ever get the chance to soil ourselves in our sickbed. We know our trade. We conquer the void, discover stars, shipwright, and plunder forgotten planets. And we die. We die in ways so horrible that most people can't even imagine such a death. Well, we've gone to a place others feared to even think about, and we've come back from there along with our Lord Captain. Next time the warp tries to play its games, we'll tell it. What else do you have to throw at us? Report on Rectorium incident. Master Helm's report. I would be willing to swear that Generator 6 power circuit unit was switched off when we began the warp jump. There were cracks in the casing. The enclosure was damaged. We would never start up that piece of junk. It would have blown in seconds. And I have no idea how it switched itself on. No one from the crew touched it. When the last generator failed, the energy supply should have been cut off, but number 6 continued to run. It dragged us along for 18 minutes, even though it should have exploded after 18 milliseconds. I don't know what happened. The Emperor protects. That was that Nomos. So, am I here now? Can I go back there? Alright, so we just can't go there right now. Fair enough. Fair enough, man. What more do I have to do? I got some places over here. How should I do this? I have to go back to should go back to where I have the biggest connections. Probably here. We'll do some colony maintenance later. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Do you know what I should be doing? What is this? When the rogue trader ship approaches the Adeptus Mechanicus void station, it is met with the hostile scrutiny of the station's defense lasers. An explorator Lex Mechanic who introduces himself as Servant Unit 42 dispassionately inquires how the station can be of use to the rogue trader. Give transmurium elements to the Adeptus Mechanicus. Alright, leave, leave, leave. So they're just not happy to see me whenever I come back. I should plunder them. I should, but I'm a nice guy. Mundus Valancius. We're gonna go over here. I got points to spend. Give me a little +1 back. It's over here. One extractium. Gonna keep that close for a bit. Wait, no, I don't need that. Blast still everywhere. That's it, that's it. Let's get out of here. I gotta take a look at my quest soon as well. Let me do that now. Nomos incident. The diviner. Talk to Idra, talk to Avalard. Okay, we'll go in all order. Chart new courses. Anything new? Anything fresh? Nope. Don't want to do this fight. Let me save it. Let me try and speed run it. That looks like some Xenos technology over here. Ooh, Ux, Juliet to help with the negotiations. Let's get it. The rogue trader's void ship is facing several Aldori scout ships. The Xenos are in no hurry to attack, and time seems to have slowed down. One wrong move and carnage will ensue. Success. Juliet's speech is met with a torrent of Aldari abuse that is too much for even the rogue trader's elucidator. The Xenos accuse her of betraying her kind by conspiring with the monkey and unceremoniously cut the connection, yet their ships are no longer blocking the way. They're like, yo, you stupid bitch. She's living a hard life, that girl. Don't want no more plastil, man. I gotta save it. And for sure, this is some Xenos planet over here. Voxmaster Vigdis. This is the Forge World Euphrates 2. It belongs to the explorators of the Cognizant Fleet. They colonized it centuries ago. Unfortunately, we do not possess the privilege of landing here. Why can I not go down to the surface of this planet? This world is declared off limits to the laity due to the sacred rites of the Adeptus Mechanicus being performed on its surface. I am afraid the restriction applies even to your lordship. What kind of secrets are they hiding? Rumors say the servants of the Omnissiah are calculating the formula of ultimate destruction in the secluded tech crypts of this world, seeking to confine it to a rigid system of previously unseen weapon primers. Others whisper that the local denizens have dedicated their lives to the restoration of a ruined divine weapon from the dark age of technology, whose power and technological perfection are so holy that a mere glance from a layman would be an affront to the Omnissiah. Who do these exporters think they are? Victor, send them a note stressing my indignation. Unfortunately, the Treaty of Mars gives them the right to restrict access to their domain. Should someone attempt to violate their sanctuary, tech priests are authorized to open fire, and the firepower of their ground batteries is capable of destroying an entire squadron. Initiating a confrontation is not advisable. Let us not disturb the tech priests. Get ready to depart. Alright. Forget it then. I'm looking for trouble out here. Okay, so there's nowhere else for me to go, and they just gave me a ton of points. It's crazy. I could do what's it called? Some lines from the center here to the very outer, so I can take little shortcuts later on. Alright, so first quest. Perhaps the answer to the mystery of knowledge will present itself in time. Throne room. Alright, we'll do that later. Talk to the master of ceremonies. Talk to Idra. Let's go ahead and do that now. How do I get to the ship? Talk to Idra. What's she saying? What she got? Ooh, Idra. She actually helped us in that warp. If I spaced her, it would have been worse. When Idra sees you, her lips curve into a smile and she nods at something over your shoulder. Epitaph. Incident N87204. Tech Blight. Do these words mean anything to you? Perhaps your abilities can tell you something.
They mean nothing to me. They're just words. A whisper. So quiet, I barely caught it. Like a feather landing on a pile of down. Something about damned ambitions, antiquity, terrible antiquity. And chance. Chance through it all.
Suddenly, Idra breaks off and winces. She brings her hand to her temples. She winces again.
Oh, now I have a headache. And the stupid bloody whisper wasn't much help.
She falls silent and looks at you in surprise. I'd like to hear your augury, Idra. What awaits me in the future?
All right, let's hear what they're whispering about you.
Idra laughs, rubs her hands together, and suddenly freezes with a vacant smile on her face, her head slightly tilted. You feel goosebumps appear on your skin, and your collar begins to waver ever so slightly, as if moved by a breeze from a half-open door.
I'm sorry, Lord Captain. The voices are going wild. I can't make out a thing. I'll try to rein them in, somehow. But for now...
Alright, where do you come from?
Lyra, an outlying world...
No.
Of course, Lord
what's it
Cap-
like being a psycho?
Every psyker feels their connection with the warp in their own way.
No.
Sure thing.
So there's nothing
course.
for us to talk to her about. Okay, so it's just that new one. Talk to Alvala. Let's go with that guy.
Lord Captain,
Ooh, I haven't really spoken to this guy, Lord Captain. Alvalad greets you with customary courtesy, but make sure to scan you from head to toe with his scrutinizing gaze. I should slap him. Do the words epitaph, incident, blah blah blah, take flight, meaning that they are connected to Theodora somehow.
No, definitely not. No, I don't recall anything like that.
For a moment, Alvalad's eyes go blank, as if he has turned his attention inward. Then he blinks twice and says in a tone of surprise, let's talk about things that may be useful to me as the rogue trader.
A noble aspiration, Lord Captain. I am ready to acquaint you with all the particulars that interest you.
Outline the situation in the Cronus Expanse for me. What do I need to know and keep in mind? This is something I should have done way earlier.
This is a topic for an official briefing, not a casual conversation. But I will try to answer succinctly. And if you permit, in my own words, the Cronus Expanse is considerably removed from the heart of the Imperium. This means that local warp routes become useless within months. Established pathways are regularly subject to attacks from all kinds of rabble. And in the only major port, the Imperium's frigates find themselves moored alongside pirate vessels. Until recently, the Cronus Expanse could hardly have been called a region of the Imperium. The situation has changed with the arrival of the Lord Inquisitor, but not by much. This place operates under its own rules, you see. More radical, so to speak. But ones that allow for a non-standard approach where there is a promise of victory. The Cronus Expanse is considered rogue trader territory for a reason. Only rogue traders have sufficient military might, audacity, and the rights granted them by the warrant to survive the leap into the unexplored part of the Expanse, and in the event of a successful outcome, to hold on to whatever they manage to capture on the frontier.
Who are the main players I need to be aware of in the Cronus Expanse?
In the first instance, you should treat official representatives of the Imperium with respect. The Expanse may be on the fringes, but it still numbers among the territories of the Golden Throne. The arrival of the Lord Inquisitor has turned the Cronus Expanse into a less wild and uncontrolled region, to the regret of some individuals who had grown inured to the local lawlessness. Rogue traders such as yourself are also servants of the Imperium. They have been accorded special rights and powers. They wield immense authority within their territory, and they enjoy absolute respect in other parts of the Expanse. The most powerful of them are Caligos Winterscale and Incendia Bastal Chorda. Tread carefully when dealing with either of them. If we are to speak of unclaimed territory, which is what Footfall is, among the scum that dwells on that handful of asteroids, there are 3 factions that wield considerable influence in the sector. The first is the Kazbalaka Mission, organized crime in its most primitive form. It holds sway over the Liege of Footfall, and has links to rogue trader Winterscale. The second faction is an offshoot of our shining ecclesiarchy, followers of St. Drusus. They are actively building their forces, and hold influence over rogue trader Chorda. And finally, the third faction, the Explorators, a wing of the Adeptus Mechanicus. They are willing to die and kill for the secrets of the ancient technological heresies that are hidden among the stars of the Cronus Expanse.
Forgot about this Kunrad guy. Kunrad, our previous Master of Whispers. What can you tell me about his betrayal? What do you think he'll do next?
You know, Lord Captain, I am no admirer of fine art. But when we next find ourselves in a civilized port, with time to spare, I will promptly find an artist and commission a portrait of the individual to whom you refer, with a hole between the eyes. Conrad Voigtveer. That he committed his treachery and escaped with his life was an unforgivable oversight.
Abelard winces as though from toothache, and he makes no attempt to hide his feelings.
We both served Lord Captain Theodora for many years, and we never saw eye to eye. He was brash. He was never afraid of assuming responsibility, and he willingly took on difficult tasks. I am loath to admit it, but the von Valancius Protectorate continues to reap the fruits of his labors to this day. His service always garnered my respect. But everything else about him made me want to wring the neck of that two-faced snake.
Mm-hmm.
The tragedy with the Dargona's fleet vessel only confirms my fears. Conrad will miss no opportunity to harm you, and most likely complete his mission. The Master of Whispers is continuing to use the tools crafted by his own hands, and which are hidden in the depths of the von Valancius Protectorate. Any of your subjects could be an agent of his, working to serve his interests. Be on your guard, Lord Captain.
That is all for now.
As you wish, Lord Captain.
Okay, we'll continue talking to this guy. For sure. Alright, let me scrub through this, quickly check, see if the mic is good, so I can continue recording without stress.